Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today we're going to be talking about Daleks Masterplan episodes 5, 6, and 7. And we're going to talk about episode 5. I'll talk about each part as I watch them. We're going to talk about episode 5 first, which episode 5 is one of the surviving episodes, which I have on the Lost in Time box set that one of my subscribers sent, which I very much appreciate since I got to watch it on my TV. It's interesting that, so Brett really is dead, just as I kind of figured from the end of episode 4. It's nice to see Jean Marsh as Sarah Kingdom. I've heard a lot about Sarah Kingdom, so it's nice to see her in action here. I was not expecting the disintegrator beam that transports them to the other planet. The effect of it when it's like first starts and they're like, is a pretty cool effect for Classic Who for the 60s. That kind of blinding light. I've seen that iconic shot of Hartnell when he's kind of... I've seen that shot before. I never knew what it was from. But that effect looked really neat. I liked it. And then the idea of them being sent to the other planet, which is yet another not very friendly planet we've seen here. Daleks Masterplan has a lot of not very friendly planets that I wouldn't want to be on. Again, this kind of marsh, swampy land, and the creatures who live there are invisible and look mean. I've noticed when, not necessarily when Hartnell got it, but when Steven was getting up, it's almost like this kind of growling sound in the background. I made note of and was like, ooh, that's adding to the atmosphere. I like that little growling noise in the background. Doesn't sound friendly at all. And then I saw the footsteps. And when I saw what the footsteps looked like, I'm like, well, that doesn't strike me as a big, adorable, friendly teddy bear. So when the doctor's like, yep, they're big, tall, 8 feet tall, you know, I'm like, sounds like the luck they're having in this story with the planets they're ending up on. I'd forgotten that Brett and Sarah were brother and sister. I think I did know that. It just slipped my mind. So that actually makes the confrontation between them at the end of episode 4 even more intense, and probably why Brett thought they were all right for half a second before he realized, uh-oh. And then I would definitely say about Mavic Chin's second in command, the bald-headed guy, I wouldn't trust him. I wouldn't trust him. He looks like that guy who's perfectly happy assassinating his way to the top, knifing in the back his way to the top. If I was Mavic Chin, I would not be trusting him that much. Of course, I wouldn't be trusting Mavic Chin very much either. I did get a little annoyed with the part where he's kind of in the disintegrator room making his grand speech. I was kind of like... But I like how even he kind of realized at the end that he was going a little overboard, and he's kind of, oh, didn't mean to get quite so carried away. That was kind of funny. So I enjoyed part 5 well enough. It was a nice little cliffhanger with the Daleks finding them at the end. I'm curious to see where it goes next, and I'll be back with my thoughts on part 6. Hey guys, Prowl 1701, and now we're going to be talking about episode 6 of Daleks Masterplan. And again, I'm watching Josh Snare's animated reconstructions, which are really good, especially as I adjust to them. I'm really enjoying them. I love the CGI Daleks he uses for them. That really adds a lot to it. And even the character movement is just better than static pictures you would normally get, especially considering the lack of telesnaps for this story. This one especially was a really good watch. I think Josh is progressively getting better and better at them too as it goes on, even though they've all been good. I enjoyed the story, how the Doctor managed to trick the Daleks and get on the ship, how they covered the eye with mud, which is an interesting callback to the original Dalek story. A tried and true method to run past him, get the ship, take off. And then you had a little bit of stuff where they get steered back to Kimball, they break away, they get steered back to Kimball, they break away, they still end up on Kimball. It's kind of filler, but it kind of works too. It's weird, Steven getting stuck in a force field. That was really odd. Interesting, but odd. But I like how the Doctor uses that to his advantage with how when he is actually forced to land on the planet, he's able to make a deal with the Daleks to take him to the Tardis, and then he'll trade the MacGuffin for letting them escape. And of course, he's replaced the MacGuffin with, I'm guessing that's an explosive he's made. I didn't quite catch that, whatever the little decoy MacGuffin he's made is. I'm guessing that's supposed to be an explosive, or is it just, or were they just charging it so it would give off energy so the Daleks would believe it was real and not fake? It's neat that the Doctor managed to bargain the Daleks into that, because it didn't seem like the Daleks were going to agree to it, but luckily Mavic Chin was there to help him out unintentionally. That was pretty cool. I like how the Doctor had that all worked out, where him and Sarah got in the TARDIS, and then Steven managed to use the force field to shield himself from a blast to get in, which destroyed the force field. I hope they didn't accidentally give them the wrong... I hope they didn't accidentally get the MacGuffins mixed up, the real one and the decoy, and accidentally give them the real one. I don't know if that's what happened, but if it is, I'm going to laugh. And it was a nice cliffhanger. I enjoyed the cliffhanger as well. I thought that was really, really good. So I'm looking forward to the Feast of Stephen, which I know is just kind of its own episode, a Christmas episode. Doesn't really have a lot to do with the story, but I'm looking forward to it. I really enjoyed episode 6 a lot. I think episode 6 has definitely been my favorite so far. I know that kind of summed it up really quickly, but I was really, even though it was watching it as a recon, I was really engaged with what was happening in the story. There was a lot going on, despite the little bit of filler there in the middle. And watching Sarah learn to trust the Doctor like that. I'm enjoying this story. Episode 6 has definitely been my favorite so far. So now I'm going to watch the Christmas episode, the very first Doctor Who Christmas episode, I believe. We'll see what I think of it. So, episode 7, The Feast of Stephen. It really is its own thing, isn't it? I'd always heard that episode 7 was kind of its own thing, that it wasn't really related to the rest of the story. And that I know when it was sold abroad, it was sold as an 11-parter, or rather when it was shopped abroad, it was an 11-parter. And that no telerecording has ever been made for the Feast of Stephen, and it is probably the least likely episode of Doctor Who to ever come back, since there was no telerecording made and the master tape was wiped, so they claim. It's an interesting episode. I think it would be a humorous, fun watch if it was intact. I watched the Loose Cannon 20 reconstruction of it, which wasn't the easiest thing to get through. I know they put a lot of work into it, and I enjoyed it well enough, but it's still like some recons, especially recons without many telesnaps. I know there were some photographs, I think, from the guy who played Bing Crosby, and some production stills that they worked with, but there's not normal telesnaps like a lot of stories have. And that does make it a little bit of a hard watch. The story itself is humorous. It's fun. The beginning part with them at the police station, a police box materializing at a police station, is fun enough. And then them ending up on the set of a movie and running around the movies and seeing Charlie Chaplin and Bing Crosby. You know, it's a fun little time. It was amusing. It was amusing. And then the little, you know, wishing everybody Merry Christmas at the end, a nice little fourth wall break, you know, because it was Christmas. I don't think that was uncommon for that at the time. It's a fun little one-part episode. It's always interesting because people talk about Masterplan as this big, massive, epic 12-parter, but I'm starting to think it really is just an 11-parter with a bonus episode thrown in. I mean, if you're going to count Feast of Stephen, you should count Mission of the Unknown and just call it a 13-parter. But it was fun. Again, if the episode existed, I think it'd be a fun little Christmas watch where, you know, they were just having some fun with it. I love that line about, haven't I seen you somewhere before? Ah, yes, the whatever he says, the shop at Jaffa, or the store at Jaffa. Because I'm assuming the actor also played one of the actors in The Crusade. Probably the salesman at the Crusade, the oily salesman, the slick salesman. That could have been him. So that was nice to see that. I did enjoy the a little bit at the end when the guy's like, but Chaplin already did it. Chaplin already did it. Who's going to trust a name like Bing Crosby or whatever it is you said? It was humorous. It was a fun little episode. Was it essential? No, but it was fun. And then Hartnell playing the other guy with the glasses at the end who walks up. It was fun. Hard to get through because of the recon, but if it had been existing, if the episode still existed, I think it'd be a fun little watch. Although I think if I ever rewatch Masterplan, which I'm sure I will eventually, I might just skip it. Although about that time, I might be wanting to watch it again because it's kind of fun. So that's kind of just my thoughts on the Feast of Stephen. So I want to know what you think of Daleks Masterplan up to this point, being over halfway through it now. Comment down below and let me know what you think of episodes 5, 6, and 7. Don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button as well. Links to the Patreon are down in the description. Links to the Amazon wish list are down there. Links to the Amazon UK wish list are also down there. The P.O. box is down there as well. If there's anything you'd like to send me to look at and review, I also want to give a shout out to a couple of my top tier patrons, Colin Coney and Perkins. I do appreciate their support, as I do the support of all of my patrons. most importantly, thank you for watching.